So it's just going to be a balanced appraisal. There's pros and cons to it. It is easy to think that AI will solve everything. And, you know, suddenly we're all going to have perfect training plans and it will just, it will take care of everything. I actually struggle to see that in the future, at least in the next, I don't know, lifetime. And I think also, from a coaching perspective, it's easy, well, from an athlete as well, it's easy to be a bit intimidated by AI. Maybe not quite sure what it is or how you might actually use it. And for a coach, coaches might be worried about their jobs. So for me though, AI is something I'm incredibly excited about. I think it has enormous potential as a coaching and training tool. And that's why I've worked so closely with young platforms and with greater or lesser success. But overall, I think the future is really bright for training tools. The real potential for me as a coach is for it to do the heavy lifting in creating training programs and then allowing me to nuance them and add a sort of like the sprinkles on top, the cherry on top. And I don't mind admitting that. That might sound like, oh, I'm just expecting it to do most of my job. Because I don't mind admitting how helpful AI could be for me, because if you're going to a coach purely for a training plan, then you're not getting your money's worth. And that's why I'm always so adamant about these training sessions, about you guys asking questions, because I want to do more than just give you guys training plans. Because I think I've got a lot more than that to offer. And so if I can leverage AI to do the heavy programming, the structure at least, it then allows me to focus on the areas where I can really add value. So, you know, athlete management, helping you guys deal with the day-to-day, helping you with the mental health side of things, helping you guys to develop knowledge and having the time to develop my knowledge even further. It all comes down to time, basically. Creating extra capacity for me to do more and help you guys develop skills, teach you more about fueling and hydration, do more in-person or online training if people want it, you know, and creating resources like those in the members area. So, for example, the critical power calculator, the run pace calculator, the CSS calculator, all those calculators that are now on the website, I built those using AI. Okay, I can build those calculators myself, but it would take flipping ages. Okay, whereas using ChatGPT, I can build those calculators. I built them all within a day. Okay, so that's just one area where it allows us to kind of create things that otherwise I just probably wouldn't have the time to create. And then probably the final major benefit of AI is its potential ability to do real-time plan adjustments. You know, as you progress through your week, your day, or even in a session, if something happens to adjust the parameters, it can ultimately update that. So for example, if you miss a session or your heart rate's too high, it can alter things. Yes, doing things, those micro adjustments that coach would love to do, or maybe not, I don't know, would like to be able to do, like to be able to offer, is maybe the right phrase, but it's not realistic time-wise to make every tiny little adjustment. The real limitations to AI in concept, really, I've yet to come across a platform that provides training that isn't entirely focused on conditioning. You know, they're all desperate to quantify fatigue, fitness, etc. Yet, I've not seen one yet that makes space for including skills work, or even just like progressive hill work. You know, like real bread and butter of every training plan. They're all obsessed at doing this amount of time at VO2, this amount of time at threshold, you know, hitting training, hitting energy systems, blah, 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 which obviously is vital for fitness. But, you know, as we've seen after COVID, you can be mega fit, but you've got no race skills. You saw it in the crit scene. It was terrifying. You know, all these absolute hitters, been on the turbo for 2 years, complete monsters, but just had no idea how to ride in a pack. Yeah, none of them provide for the realities of racing. So they don't. I've not seen one yet that kind of suggests to do warm-up races or time trials or virtual races to get experience before you hit your goal race. It's like, here's your goal race. We're going to get you fit for that, but not actually prepare you for the realities of racing. Okay, and I'm yet again, and you guys will be sick of this, I've been complaining about it a lot, but none of them provide ongoing benchmarking beyond FTP, critical power, you know, nothing practical. Which is I'll just stay calm. Move on. Anyway, some other kind of downsides for current training platform, AI platforms, is the training is boring, really boring, and that's all down to the fact that they are desperate to quantify everything that you do. I did anticipate that changing as things evolve, but currently, yeah, it's so boring. And I think one thing that is an issue for AI is there's still an underlying training philosophy there, and that isn't set in stone. You know, there isn't one training philosophy to rule them all. You might start talking about 80-20, but how do you apply 80-20? That requires, you know, a subjective philosophy. You know, for instance, how recovery is approached. You know, on platforms that we've used, their approach to recovery has either been non-existent or too aggressive to get you back to this baseline level of fatigue. Actually, what they can produce is only really as good as the data going in. So, as I've said before, the data from swim watchers who were talking about triathlon is absolute garbage. So how you create a AI-driven swim platform, a swim program based on data coming in, yeah, God only knows really. Wearables really, so for me the only recent way you can really accurately start to nail down a quantified fatigue state, etc., is through wearables, but their accuracy varies wildly. Wrist heart rate monitors are not great. Really, we should be wearing chest heart rate monitors all the time. Within that, you want sleep data, heart rate variability data, and all that should input your training approach. And then the quantification of your metrics. And then one thing they really can't take into account, even with all that, is emotional stress. Yeah, that will show up in heart rate variability data and probably sleep data, but actually pinpointing that as an issue, yeah, there has to be a human element involved. One last little failing currently is trying to distill everything down to a single metric. I think it's a fool's errand. We don't want one-dimensional athletes. We want athletes that are well educated, and so far from what I've seen, none of the platforms are putting any energy into educating athletes, and I just think that's a really shoddy business model, and it will come back to bite them.